Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 1, Episode 3 of FX and Hulu's Alien Earth, entitled Metamorphosis. Now let's get this out of the way up front. This episode wasn't quite as exciting as the first two, but it wasn't not exciting, and I get why. Episodes 1 and 2 were designed to grab us, introduce us to the world, throw us into the action, and show us what kind of ride we're in for. Episode 3 slows down a bit just to lay out the groundwork for this season's multiple plot lines, while still slipping in some tense and memorable moments. So let's just dive right in and start talking about it. Right off the bat, I got a little bit of a nitpick. Instead of I don't want to call it proper because that makes it like you have to do it this way, but instead of a traditional previously on recap, we just get silent clips under the title card from the previous episode. And I mean, I'm not mad about it. The images serve a purpose. I still was able, you see the imagery and you can remember what was happening there. But I mean, I still prefer the dialogue. Like, give me the context. Don't just leave me watching a silent montage. I watch a lot of shit, man, and I'm old. Like it's hard for me to remember what happened on the last episode of all the different things that I watch. On the flip side, though, I do like how shows in general seem to be trying to do different things with how they incorporate either the previously on recap or the next week on preview. So like it's a minor nitpick, but like I would have preferred just a traditional previously on so I could feel like I'm fully caught up rather than this stylistic version. But I mean, again, it's a nitpick. I do like the style. It's super creepy underneath the title card and the music. So like I like it, but I don't like it. But on to the episode. So the episode picks up exactly where the last one left off. Wendy searching for Hermit/Joe. I don't know what to call him. Like, she the only one call him Joe. So it's, I don't know. It's like he's the only one call her, was it Marcy? Like, I don't know. I'm going to stick with Hermit for the time being because I feel like Hermit's what he's going to be called most often on the show rather than Joe. So we're going to stick with Hermit. So she's searching for Hermit. She finds him strung up in a butcher's locker. It's very obviously a trap. He warns her it's a trap. She goes in confidently as if it's not a trap. And then lo and behold, it was a trap. The Xenomorph sequence, though, that follows this is excellent. From Wendy stabbing through the roof and discovering the acid blood to that hook and drag moment where Wendy tries to trap the alien with his little mouth that comes out of the big mouth. It's a great set piece. The fight behind the sealed door, only to reveal the decapitated Xenomorph and a badly damaged Wendy. Like, that whole sequence was one of the highlights of the episode. And then also you got to think too, like, I wanted to feel bad for Hermit having to listen to his sister behind that door, possibly getting obliterated by an alien. And then you got to figure from Wendy's perspective, they had to have been completely in the dark, right? So like, yeah, you think this is crazy, right? This has to be a terrible moment for Hermit. But he pissed me off, noting that this was acid dropping from the top of the roof, and this motherfucker still walked right underneath it instead of going around it. Like, as soon as the acid dripped on his arm, I'm like, I hope your whole left side of your body falls off, because you're a fucking moron for doing that. But the question is, why does it feel like the Xenomorph is hesitant to kill Wendy? Like, it could have went right up in there and inside the butcher locker, and it didn't. It stuck its head in, didn't do anything. Then it went on top for whatever reason. But it's had multiple opportunities to kill her or Hermit, and it hasn't done it. And it almost feels like Hermit's capture at the end of episode 2, it was bait. Like, he captured her as bait to maybe get Wendy to wherever it was that, he wanted her to be at. I don't know why I've just given the Xenomorph a gender. But couple that with how Wendy responded to Kersh operating on the alien egg, and we'll talk about that later. And I think the show is clearly hinting at some deeper connection between Wendy and the Xenomorph. But I mean, I'm just kind of guessing at this point. We don't have too much to go on, but I think it's worth at least thinking about. Meanwhile, back at Prodigy, Boy Cavalier is doing his best horror movie boss impersonation. He's demanding that Kersh bring back the alien eggs for R&D. And one thing you can always count on in a horror franchise is there's always be one guy who's hell-bent on doing the dumbest fucking thing possible. And in this case, it was ironically the boy genius. So, but moving on, Slightly, who is one of the Lost Boys, he's been waiting with the eggs since Hermit was taken. And then he's joined by Smee. And I initially wasn't a huge fan of this interaction between Smee and Slightly around the eggs. Like, it was going for funny. I wasn't laughing. But at the same time, one, I'm impressed at how good those two are at playing children. And two, it was meant to showcase just how childlike they are. So I'm fine with it. They were ODing with the bros, but it's fine. I think it was going for something funnier than it was, at least for me. But I see the point in it. And I commend both of those actors. They're doing stellar jobs playing kids, from their, not just the things that they say, not even just their faces, their body language, how they cowered behind Kersh when, once Kersh arrived, when they were having their conversation with Morrow. Like, those two are doing a great job at playing kids, much more so than really any of the rest of them. But then enters the real MVP, who I just mentioned, of the episode, Morrow. Morrow is creepy, he's intense, he's manipulative, he's got secrets. Like, he's the standout of this show for me right now. Like, the way he was looking when he was downloading that data, it was crazy. It's like, that should look silly, but somehow he managed to make it look terrifying. The lights going up, the cords going up to his head, like, man, it was very creepy. And then, like I said, Kersh arrives, and Morrow makes the grievous error of pulling a gun on Raylan fucking Givens. And man, I don't remember what Kersh was saying to Morrow in that moment. I remember thinking like something about you hit the baseball over the fence in the neighbor's yard. I'm the neighbor, so now it's my fucking ball. Like, I just remember feeling like I was watching Raylan Givens again. And that Morrow was about to fuck around and find out. Like, he even had, like, it's like he just went into Raylan's posture. Like, I feel like he was directed. Like, you can be Kersh all the whole rest of the show, but right now, do Raylan. Because all I saw was Raylan. Morrow's parting shot as he exits is, when is a machine not a machine? And then he leaves a tiny piece of his cyborg self on Slightly. It's an easy miss. He's after he's done downloading the data, he has like touches his finger, and there's like a little small, it looks like a contact lens. And he takes it. And then right after that, he goes to choke Slightly. He says the line. And then when he removes his hand, the camera zooms in on the little contact on his neck. He later uses this technology, presumably, I'm assuming is how he did it, to interrupt Slightly, who was just trying to watch Shrek, and manipulate him like a child, like with promises of candy if you get in my white windowless van. It was very, what they call, I shouldn't be laughing when I'm coming up with this, grooming. It was like grooming almost, but it's like a weird kind of like, it's like it is, but it's not, like he's not real. It's an adult body. But yeah, conceptually, it's the same idea. So he told Yutani in an earlier scene that he could get her alien specimens back from Boy Cavalier because he felt it was his life's work and he wanted to go back and get it. And he felt like he saw a way in there. And well, it looks like Slightly is going to be his way in. So I liked that setup of this subplot. All that looks really good. I'm really interested in seeing what Morrow is going to do to manipulate Slightly into somehow accessing Prodigy and wherever the aliens are kept. Also in this scene, he's talking to Slightly from what looks like a like raunchy and slightly arousing BDSM club. But he's doing some research on Boy Cavalier and Prodigy as well, because we also learned in that conversation with Yutani that the Yutani he was talking to is actually the granddaughter of the one who he went on the mission for, and that he's been gone for 65 years. So he doesn't know anything about Prodigy and Boy Cavalier. So that's what he's doing his little research now. Another interesting subplot this episode sets up involves Curly, one of the other Lost Boys, or, Lost Girls in this case, a point that was brought up by, I think it was Nibs early in the episode. We're going to talk about Nibs brief. Actually, I'm not going to talk about Nibs, but I hadn't planned on talking about Nibs, but I might talk about Nibs. We'll see. But Curly's frustration with being overlooked, her pitch to Boy Cavalier about making the world better and then being better than him, his comment about prodigies having the imagination of children, all of that sets her up as dangerously ambitious. Like I said, Smee and Slightly are great at being childlike. She don't seem childlike at all. Like, I mean, she made the thing like you wouldn't have to poop anymore, but like she seemed far more cunning and far more ambitious than any of the rest of them. And that's always dangerous, especially when you have her abilities. I personally appreciated how she was like, I use my brain. So what she said, I learned French last week. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Wendy's over here fucking off doing nothing. And she like, yeah, I learned French last week. That would be me. Like, if that was me, I would already know like 8 different languages. Like, it'd be crazy. Anyway. Curly's not just jealous, she's calculating. I really like where that subplot is headed. I thought that was a very interesting scene, and I think I'm very compelled with finding out where this is going to go, especially since Boy Cavalier, especially since he said earlier that he wanted to have a conversation with somebody smarter than him. She claims that she's either already there or close. So yeah, really interested to see how that goes, especially if it's going to cause infighting among the group. Later, Wendy finally wakes up after being extracted from the crash site and repaired, and she wanders into the lab while Kersh dissects one of the eggs. And it was less of a wander and more of a compulsion, actually. But the connection between her and the alien specimens grows stronger. She winces when the egg is cut into, and she literally passes out as that embryo or whatever is extracted. It's eerie, but it raises a lot of questions, and I'm going to get to those in a moment. And then comes the truly bizarre moment. Early in the episode, we saw Hermit having his lung removed to help save his life and heal his injuries. Kersh implants the alien embryo that he just took out of the face hugger, and he puts it into Hermit's newly repaired lung, which I'm going to assume, as we all should, is going to go back into Hermit's body. Why? Couple thoughts. Maybe Boy Cavalier has tasked Kersh with this. Curly told him that all Wendy cares about is Hermit, and Wendy is Boy Cavalier's star pupil. Might he be trying to take Hermit off the board to free Wendy from that distraction? On the other hand, maybe the show is hinting that synthetics are not as impervious to the alien influence as they are believed to be. Maybe Kersh himself is being influenced by the aliens, and he's, I don't want to say working on their behalf like a agent, but like in that moment, maybe he was working on behalf of the aliens. He said they thrive on living organisms, which, I mean, that would refute this theory if entirely true. But did he not look completely fucking spaced out while he was doing that? And I've already posed the idea that Wendy has a connection to the aliens. Maybe the alien wants itself inside Hermit as yet another means of getting to Wendy. And then the last thing I want to mention from this scene is it was edited very strangely. Wendy walks into the lab. No one turns around to look at her. The doors, like you think immediately, as soon as the doors open, somebody's going to turn around. Kersh was just instructed no non-synthetic person should be in here. And obviously Wendy is, but like he didn't even turn around to see. Like, what if it was a non-synthetic person? No, he doesn't turn around at any point. She's continuing to like wince and make faces. Nobody turns around, right? He takes out the embryo. She passes out right by this logo. Then we see him putting the thing into the tank with the lung. Hermit wasn't in that room, was he? So like, I feel like there's some tricky shit going on there. I'm wondering if those timelines aren't concurrent. Like whenever that was happening with Kersh taking the embryo out of the face hugger, was not at the same time as Wendy had entered in that room. Like maybe Wendy entered into that room and they weren't even in there. And while they were doing that, Wendy never entered into the room, because there's too many things that don't make sense. And this show is too smart to be that sloppy with its editing. So I figure there's some trickery going on here. But I mean, I don't even have a theory I just did have a theory, but I don't have a theory that I'm confident in as to what's going on there. So I don't know. We'll see. But let me know in the comments if you have any ideas or if you even noticed that. Because like, I'm like, how did he get up and not walk past her, see her laying there on the floor right behind him? And then all of a sudden he's in the room where Hermit was getting his lung removed. Like, I don't think Hermit was in the same room with them. I could be wrong. I might have just missed that. But I don't know. Something didn't seem right about that. So yeah, episode 3, it slows things down a bit. It's clearly about positioning characters and plots rather than like, blowing us away with action like the first 2. But it still had, its exciting and compelling moments too. Very understated, but very compelling moments. Thematically, we're seeing C's planet, the hybrid's nature, Wendy's connection to the aliens, Morrow's infiltration of Slightly, Curly's dangerous intelligence. Like I said, not as exciting as the first 2. but equally, if not more, compelling. It's doing the heavy lifting of world building and setup, and I always appreciate when shows do that. It often leads to great moments down the road that pay off naturally. You don't have to it doesn't have to feel like a twist or something they just pulled out of their ass. It works because they've done the groundwork beforehand. And as long as Merle keeps stealing scenes, I'm hooked. So closing out, big shout out to my patrons. You help make these videos possible. Join the Discord as well. We're often having pretty rousing discussions in there too. The links to everything that I just said are in every description. Now I want to hear from you. Why do you think the Xenomorph hesitated with Wendy? Is she being targeted? Is she being protected? Is Hermit being used to get to her? Because why isn't Hermit dead as well? Drop your theories in the comments. If you like this breakdown, hit the like button. If you didn't like this breakdown, hit the like button anyway. And if you're new here, subscribe so you don't miss the video for episode 4. Until next week, peace.